It does also really seem like the Japanese have taken a very targeted and specific approach to their diplomacy with President Trump. We know that Shinzo Abe was one of the first leaders to meet with him after he became president, and certainly they do have a very unique relationship on and off the golf course. So do you think that the Japanese have done enough to avoid an all-out trade war with the United States, similar to what we see now engulfing the US-China relationship?
Yes, so well, if you have to look at the dynamics, Japan needs the US for not just trade, but also as a key security ally. Trump obviously needs to show some political victory as well as some foreign policy spats that, they have been having with China. So they need Japan as an Asian friend too. But given the amount of time that Abe has invested with Trump, the efforts have not reaped as much as Japan would have wanted to do so. So, yes, Japan has done a lot from its own standards, but again, it hasn't been able to convince Trump to not criticize Japanese trade deals or Japan's trade practices so far.
It does also seem like the threat that President Trump has put forward once before about staying to his word and imposing tariffs on Japanese autos and auto parts is still a reality. But what about the issue of North Korea? Do you think that it's likely we will see Shinzo Abe perhaps meeting with the North Korean leader anytime soon, now that President Trump has opened the door for him essentially to do so, and after that failed meeting between the president and the North Korean leader in Hanoi?
Trump has definitely opened the door, but also the other key party is North Korea themselves in this issue. North Korea obviously is not happy about Japan or any of its activities. Obviously, they originate from Japanese colonial era of the Korean Peninsula. Obviously, Trump has tried to engage with North Korea in multiple ways. He's obviously been soft about how North Korea tested the missiles a few weeks ago. Trump obviously wants to still meet Mr. Kim Jong-un. Abe, on the other hand, has obviously softened his stance. Earlier, they were deeply critical of North Korea, but they have become slightly pliant by saying we'll meet North Korea unconditionally. So, again, it's a very big question about how Trump can even approach North Korea to arrange a meeting, because North Korea doesn't seem that keen to meet Japan.
Of course, later on next month, we of course have the G20 taking place in Japan as well. Global markets are really waiting and watching to see if we get a meeting between the US president and the Chinese president as well on the ongoing trade dispute there. How likely do you think that is? And could there be a role for Japan to play in, I guess, a three-way relationship between these countries?
Japan would love to play a role, definitely. Its supply chains have been deeply affected by all the manufacturing plants in China, and obviously they're both key trading partners for Japan. The fact is, even though it wants to try to play a role, it won't be able to play that role that it desires to do so, because Trump obviously is quite adamant about how China has to be reined in, how Chinese products have to be tariffed, despite the fact that, they actually had a trade negotiation going underway, which is when he actually slapped on new tariff rules.